How much did we spend in our student visa application? This is what we're going to discuss today. Hello everyone, welcome to Joyce University, and today I'll be presenting you our expenses when we applied for our student visa and OWP here in Canada. I have a lot of friends and there are a few individuals who would message me and ask me of the same thing. That's why I'll be presenting you everything today with the hope that, especially to those who are planning to come to Canada as well, this is with the hope that you could prepare for your finances before deciding to apply for a student permit here in Canada. Okay, I actually have mentioned in my previous video that getting your student permit here in Canada is the fastest way really to come here, but if it's the fastest, it's also the most expensive, because in our case we were approved 11 days after the lodging of our paper. That's quite fast really, but we actually had we spent a lot during and after the process of application. The first expense, okay, that we had was our agency fee, because I also told you that we were handled by an agency, a legit agency, CIC, or Canadian Immigration Consultancy, Baguio City. Ma'am Chrissy, one of the agents there in that agency, handled our application, and we paid 120,000 pesos for that. Okay, I and my husband, okay, one student visa and OWP, we had to pay 120,000 for that. But good thing is CIC gives you time to pay for that, longer time to pay for that. In our case, we had it paid installments, through installment basis, like for 3 months, and right after paying that, they gave us the list of the documents to be prepared. Okay, so good thing about having an agency is that they would take search of everything. They would make sure that the paper is fast tracked, and at the same time they make sure that everything is there, everything is complete. But they would always base their actions on your decisions and on how fast you are in collating all the documents they need for the application. Okay, so I also highly recommend CIC if you plan to have an agency for your application. All right, next, after that, we also had the medical examination in NHS Baguio. So we had to pay 13,270 pesos each. So we paid 16,500 for our medical examination. Okay, but when you go to NHS or to other accredited agencies for your medical examination, you have to have an extra fund with you, because if the result would show, or the result of the test would show irregularities, like some irregularities that you might have other illnesses, they would subject you to another tests, and another test will mean another payment. So you really have to be prepared when you go to your medical examination. So after that, we paid for our biometrics in a Word Center, Makati. We paid 40,000 for that. 15,000. I don't know what those are, but for 15,000, we deposited that for Word Center, and then we had to pay 25,000 plus for our handling fee, I think. So that's 40K for both of us. And then yung pinakamabigat really that you really have to be prepared for ay ang tuition. So tuition here in Canada is really very expensive, times 3 ang tuition ng international students sa domestic students, meaning if you are really here, you are citizen here, you just have to pay a very minimum amount for your education. But if you are an international student, you have to pay times 3 of that, times 3, times 4. And in my case, since my program is early childhood education, my tuition is 16,000 Canadian dollars. That's for 1 year. You could pay for a SEM, okay, for just one SEM would be about, in pesos, we have 300,000 pesos, okay, that's for one SEM. But for the entire year, you have to pay 700 to 750,000 pesos, because that's 16,000 Canadian dollars. Other programs have higher tuition to be paid, but in my case, for one SEM, I had my tuition was 16,000 Canadian dollars. And the last thing that we spent was actually our plane ticket. We spent 128,000 pesos for that. And ang price ng ticket ay depende sa season, depende sa buwan. Because in our case, we had to be booked ng December. So, ang pinakamura pag December is yung Vesperas o kayong Pasko mismo ng mga tickets. After Christmas or before Christmas, it would cost you 100,000 more. Okay, so 128 yung ticket namin. If you book it like after Christmas, before January 10, you could have 200 or 250 ang ticket mo na doon. So sabi nila yung 128 ay mura na. Mura na kumpara sa real price talaga niya kapag peak season, kumbaga yung December, right? So if you try to add all these things, excluding yung show money na 1.7, we spent around 700 to 800,000 pesos. Hindi pa dito kasama yung hotel accommodation or yung fare when you go to Baguio or when you go to Makati, or when you or when you have to prepare all other documents that you have to before lodging. So it's really expensive. You really have to plan very well. You have to check your financial stability. Yun nga lang, medyo malakas ang tanging baon namin pagpunta namin dito is yung lakas ng loob, strong-willed, kumbaga, that we have to do this because we have started it already. We have to finish what we have started. Plus, faith that whatever happens, God would always be there to support you, to support us, and that we do not have anything to be afraid of because God would always be there, right? And we are being supported, we are being backed up by our loving family and by our very supportive friends who would never leave us kahit kailan. So, yun siguro yung mga pinaka-blessing namin. We are not rich, we're not financially stable really, but we managed to come here because we have very strong support group way back home. At yun yung pinagpapasalamat talaga namin. As regards the documents to be prepared, para makapunta tayo dito, those are the things that we'll be discussing in the next videos to come. Bye! See you next time.